Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Wednesday, January 16th. And you can see as we put this in motion, looks wet, but this is actually pretty icy conditions here yesterday. And our headlines, a major winter storm is going to hit the Great Lakes. Right now, the heaviest snow looks like it'll be across southern lower Michigan into Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, over into Pennsylvania, New York, where they could see up to a foot of snow. But I think in portions of southeast lower Michigan, 6 to 12 inches is possible. And then maybe about 3 to 5 once you get into central Michigan. We'll have to keep an eye on that storm track. I'm still not convinced that once that system gets out into the plains, it'll explode into a much stronger storm than what the models are indicating. Move a little farther northwest and bring a lot more in the way of snow. But right now we'll play conservative and say about 2 to 5 inches up around mid-Michigan, about 4 to 6 inches around the Lansing area, and about 7 to maybe 10, 6 to 10 as you get down in far southeast lower Michigan over into southwest Ontario. For this morning though, freezing drizzle and snow just a little bit as a cold front comes through. That'll change the freezing drizzle over to maybe about an hour's worth of snow showers, and then we'll see the sun break out for this afternoon. So these last two gloomy days will end with at least some sunshine here later on today. Our normal high 28 and the normal low is 11. And if we look at yesterday, we had a very close high and low of only 31 and 28, so not much in the way of spread in temperatures. That's because we were pretty much socked in with the clouds and some of that freezing drizzle. And again, only a couple of hundredths of an inch, so not a big deal. So far for the month of January, you can see we're running a pretty balmy 6.5 degrees per day above normal. But when this month is done, these numbers are going to be negative in the blues, so it's going to be colder than normal for the month of January by the time we're all said and done. And if we look at sunrise this morning at 8:08, it'll set tonight at 5:27. And if we look at the conditions around the state this morning, again, winter weather advisories for the entire area with temperatures in the upper 20s to low 30s. We'll see those begin to slowly and steadily fall here into the upper 20s here once that cold front moves through the area. You can see not much of a spread in temperatures, 32 degrees at Henderson for the warm spot, 28 at Lakeview. And if we look at satellite view this morning, you can see these weak systems across the north bringing that freezing drizzle across the area this morning. And again, very bitterly cold air. You can see it. These aren't clouds. These are actually cold air temperatures. Again, that system moving off to the northeast. We got another system that's going to be dropping down. And then we have a weak system that'll come through for Thursday that could bring some light snow, mainly to far southern lower Michigan into the Ohio Valley, maybe about a trace to 2 inches. Not a big deal, but that's going to be the forerunner to the big storm. And you can see plenty of moisture coming up from the Pacific. The Gulf will become wide open, and that's going to allow for that storm to really tap into cold air and a lot of moisture. And again, that's why I think as this storm cuts through, right now forecasted to cut through around southern Kentucky over towards the mid-Atlantic states, bringing very heavy snows to portions of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and southeast lower Michigan, southwest Ontario. Again, that trough will help out with that squeezing some of that moisture coming up this way for us here, even in mid-Michigan. But again, if that thing does get stronger than what the models indicate, it'll have a tendency to track a little bit farther to the northwest, maybe towards central Ohio. If that happens, the whole entire MAC area could get bashed with a lot of snow. And if we look at the radar this morning, you can see that Arctic front trying to push down through the area. Again, it's not terribly cold initially behind the system, but that'll bring a period of snow showers. And then behind that, I think the sun will break out, and you can see the lake effect. You can tell the difference between where the front is versus the banding of this cold air coming across Lake Superior. Again, this all lake effect. Again, we'll see some sunshine here, though, this afternoon. And if we look on the weather map this morning, you can see the low pressure system is going to be tracking up the front here into Ohio, bringing some of that light snow as we get into tomorrow morning. And again, another system comes through again. That'll bring some more light snow across the northern Ohio Valley, maybe into parts of Michigan. But again, this won't be a big deal. And as this front comes through, it's going to link up with a storm that's going to develop in the plains. Again, right now, it's forecasted to move pretty much just due to the due east and slightly northeast. Again, that would keep the heaviest snows across just to our south, with the exception of maybe southeast lower Michigan. But again, as this storm comes out and gets located here around Missouri, would not be surprised to see it really get intensify quite a bit and have a tendency to pull a little bit farther to the north west. So we're going to have to watch that closely. We'll watch the models here. It'll be interesting to see the next couple of runs here off the European and the GFS. And if we look at quantitative precipitation here over the next 7 days, you can see southeast lower Michigan, a ½ inch to almost an inch of precipitation. Now this is normally, if you look at snowfall at about a 10-to-1 ratio, that would be around 6 to 10 inches across the southeast part of the state. My concern is we're going to be running about 15, maybe as much as 18 or 19 to 1 snowfall ratio, and so we could get quite a bit more snow than that. Again, we're going to play conservative, call it 6 to 10, but this is over the next 7 days, and this would also include the system for midweek too, so we have to consider that as well. As far as the next, from now until, 7 p.m. Monday, you can see that the GFS shows the heaviest snows across southeast lower Michigan, but also bring in some pretty decent snows across much of the viewing area of 4 inches or more. And if we look at the next 10 days off the GFS, you can see it would produce a whole lot of snowfall across the area. So we expect another system about midweek, and then another one perhaps towards the weekend. And if we look at the Canadian model, again, it shows, now these are only 10-to-1 snowfall ratios on the Canadian, so you can just about go 1.5 to maybe 2 times these amounts. So it would be very similar, bringing about 4 inches of snow across mid-Michigan to as much as 10, 12 inches of snow as you get into southeast lower Michigan if you use the higher snowfall ratios. And if we look at the next slide, this is a Canadian over the next 10 days. Again, remember, these are only 10-to-1 snowfall ratios, and as cold as we're going to be, we expect that these snowfall ratios will be at least 15 to possibly as much as 20 or 25 to 1. So you can see where we could add a lot of snow on the Canadian. The European also keeps the weekend storm a little farther south. My forecast in as far as snowfall for the area, I expect this area here about 2 to 5 inches, a band between the the heaviest snows about 4 to 7. And as you get into southeast lower Michigan, southwest Ontario, I think a good shot of around 6 to 10 inches of snow. And again, it could be more. We're going to have to watch that system here over the next couple of days. And as we round out the month of January and we begin the month of February, this is what we expect the temperatures at the 360-hour. See about 7 degrees Celsius below normal, or about 10 to 12 degrees Fahrenheit below normal per day. So that would be very cold temperatures in the upper teens, mid to upper teens, and lows down around 0 for that period. So again, this cold weather, once it arrives, it's going to hang around. As far as the forecast in the near term, you can see temperatures in the upper 20s, only going to rise to about 30 today, 31 and across the southeast parts of the state, and then we'll see those temperatures slowly or steadily fall down into the upper 20s at least here by the afternoon, maybe mid-20s with some sunshine, and then maybe a little snow across the southern part of the state for later Thursday, and then Friday night into Saturday, again, we'll watch that storm with temperatures in the 20s, and then for Saturday, with snow showers, temperatures are going to be very cold, highs only in the low 20s, lows dropping down into the teens, and by Sunday morning, the lows will get down to 8 degrees above 0, highs only around 14, and it'll be at least that cold on Monday. So very cold and more wintry weather coming up here over the next couple of days. Thanks for stopping by, and have yourself a great day, and 73s to all.